Welcome back to this edition of Grizzlies Daily. I'm your host, Malik. It is Monday, and we actually have some very important things to talk about. This is a very good update that we're getting from Jaren Jackson Jr. regarding his injury and the surgery that he had in the offseason. And real quick before we get into that, it is Jaren's birthday, so happy birthday, Jaren. I don't know if you watch these videos, but if you do, happy birthday. But yeah, we got an update from Jaren. He spoke about the rehab process during one of his camps on Saturday, and I have a direct quote right here. It's from that training camp, the basketball camp. He said, "I'm feeling good. I'm progressing the right way. I'm doing what I need to do every day. Has been a building block. I'm aiming for whatever my body is telling me, but I'm progressing the right way. I think everybody is going to be happy." Just off of that right there, it lets me know that there's a good possibility. I want to say maybe 60-70% chance that we could see Jaren on opening night come October 22nd. That's a good update right there. And obviously, the Grizzlies will reevaluate Jaren sometime this month. Obviously, we're in the middle of the month, so maybe like the next few days or a week. So right there, we should be able to get an update regarding him and when we should expect him back. And I think the earliest you can get Jaren, it's always a good sign, always good for the team. Now, obviously, with that quote, he didn't really commit to playing for the season opener, but it does sound like even if he doesn't play, he's gonna be back within the first 5 games of the year, just off of what we're seeing, because it's not a serious injury. Now, obviously, he did have to get surgery, but it's not one of those ones that's gonna keep you out for the first few months. So, definitely a good sign from Jaren right there. Always love to hear good things when it comes to rehab and then being back on the court. So, hopefully, when we get that reevaluation update, obviously, I'll bring it to y'all and we'll talk about it, see what the Grizzlies can go from there. But for right now, it's a good possibility Jaren could be ready come opening night. Now, it's especially good because you really have to consider that this season, the reason I said it's best to get Jaren as early as possible is because Jaren is entering year 8, and now he's back to kind of what it was before Desmond Bane really came up on the rise in that 21-22 season. It's just him and Ja now. You know, it's that kind of ordeal. Now, this means a lot because it's an opportunity to see what Jaren can do for himself and how he can help the team in the future. With somebody guy who can make an All-NBA team, he's a 2-time All-Star, DPOY, all of these things. But obviously we said that the inconsistencies in Jaren's game have always held him back. So that's something that we got to hope that, the team is really, really adamant on fixing with him, and hopefully he's working to fix that himself. Because really with this new lineup, with this new roster and this new scheme, Jaren has the ability to unlock his full potential. I think we have the possibility of seeing one of the better seasons from Jaren because let's be real. Last year, Jaren was in some very good conversations. Jaren was almost first. At one point, Jaren Jackson Jr. was a lock for either first team or second team All-NBA. But then the second part of the season happened, and he kind of just fell off from there. But I think with this new roster and things, he can really unlock himself. It's just a matter of what he can do, and what he's worked on to change. Because obviously, last year were some things that went wrong when he came to Jaren. Saw a little more turnovers. The rebounds are always a concern. Fouls were off the charts, and then the shooting really fell off close to the playoff time. So hopefully Jaren can really keep that consistently because he has the opportunity to make some more noise and get the people back on his side. So this is a very important year for Jaren. Especially with that contract in mind, he can't afford to make any mistakes. He really can't. He's gonna be on everyone's radar. I wouldn't be surprised if national media started paying attention to him because that's the contract that he has. So really got to be on top of it, and hopefully Jaren can be that player that the Grizzlies set him out to be. Now, obviously, with the season being literally just like maybe a month away, I believe the first preseason game is October 6th, so less than a month. In about a few weeks. Hopefully, I want to say I can't quite remember, but I do know that we are at that point where the Grizzlies are gonna be sending out reevaluations and reevaluation updates. One that we're all waiting to see is Cedric Coward, because since being drafted, other than little updates in some leagues saying that he wasn't playing, we have not heard anything regarding Cedric Coward. We have not. Um, it's a little weird because upon drafting him, the team literally downplayed downplayed the injury. They downplayed it. It's not much. He's recovering. All this, that. If it's something that's going to keep him out, we need to know, because that really changes how we look at things regarding the roster. So maybe we look at one of those guys that we said having those uncomfortable conversations about, like Gigi or Vince. They're going to get some burn because, Coward's not available. But it's all depending on the updates. And obviously, Zach Edey, he's still waiting to get an update from him. I do know at last shake he is out of a boot, so that's a good sign. But nothing, it's a little different situation from Jaren. I don't expect Edey to be ready by opening night. I just don't. That's just reality of it. I mean, like I said, we haven't really heard any updates. But I would say, based off what we're seeing, it is good progress. There's no doubt about it. Good progress. But at the same time, I don't expect to hear much that's going to be game-changing unless it's like, hey, he's going to be out for another month. Then we start to get a little concerned. But other than that, I think we'll get some updates from Zach Edey and Cedric Coward coming in the hopefully next few days, maybe even next week or two. Who knows? But before we get out of here, just wanted to talk about something because Sports Illustrated actually put out this article, and I found it very informative because we talk about the Grizzlies and their potential picks for next year's draft. Obviously, you have that Phoenix Suns pick that's going to be handy. So we think about who's going to be that pick that the Grizzlies have. That's, in my opinion, guaranteed lottery pick. I don't see the Suns going far. So I really got to think who should the Grizzlies draft? And Sports Illustrated threw out some names out there that actually wouldn't be a problem. So the first option is Darren Peterson out of Kansas. So the reason that Sports Illustrated chose him was he'd be a perfect replacement piece for a scoring wing like Desmond Bane. Peterson is among the more polished guards we've seen in some time, offering high levels of scoring both inside and out, playmaking and strong defense. He shines more towards the two guard, but we're able to handle the ball plenty. Based off of that analysis, I think it's very, very helpful to get a guy like him. I mean, if he can handle the ball and kind of get it out of, how do I want to word this? Because I'm not saying that the Grizzlies need to get the ball out of Ja Morant's hands, but it doesn't always have to be in Ja Morant's hands. That's why Ja Morant has, turnover issues that we've looked at, over time. He's never averaged under 3 turnovers a game because he's always had the ball in his hands. And one thing about Ja, it's not that he, wants the ball all the time. I'm sure he does, but at the same time, this is a guy that, he doesn't really have anybody else to go to when it comes to handling the ball, and when it comes down to the time, the ball is going to be in his hand. So that's all it is. But Darren Peterson, I mean, I'm looking at some of the comps that some people have for him. I see one of them being, one of them being Damian Lillard, who he actually models his game after. He says he models his game after Devin Booker, Luka Doncic, and Dame Lillard, but Devin Booker being his favorite player. Good sign right there. Number 1 ranked prospect on multiple sources going into this year's class. So highly ranked talent. Highly ranked talent. He hasn't played college ball yet, but I would definitely be keeping a lookout for him. Definitely can't wait to watch. The other name that they listed in the article was Cam Boozer from Duke. Obviously, the Boozer twins. They I wouldn't be too against this because the Boozer twins they have a very good game. Cameron Boozer is 6'9". He's more of the interior scorer, so that's something that's worth noting. He's the one that's more of the interior scorer between the two. But so if they look to make an addition to the front court, I wouldn't be totally against that. He's a very good defender for what I've seen. That is just another thing. He's a very good defender. So if they really want to take that direction and beef up the front court, I wouldn't be against it. And lastly, because this is a very stat class. This is going to be a stat class for this year's draft. The next name, and I got to be honest, the Grizzlies got to have at least a top 3 pick to get this guy. The other name is AJ DeBanza. It just sounds crazy to say the Grizzlies possibly getting AJ DeBanza. I'm sorry. But there's a possibility for it. Who knows? Look, the Mavericks got the first overall pick in last year in the past draft, so anything is possible. But based off of if you don't know who AJ DeBanza is, look up his tape. That man is cold. He's a Sports Illustrated describes him as another 6'9" forward. DeBanza brings a drastically different package, more so offering a lengthy wing scorer than a front court force. DeBanza can handle the ball, drive with speed, and finish with touch, and has an improving perimeter game. Overall, he projects to be a strong 3-level scorer, capable of potentially leading a team. Aside from Morant, who's potentially reached his ceiling on offense, the Grizzlies haven't had a scoring prospect such as DeBanza in some time. And I'll be honest, I'm glad they included that last line right there, because a lot of people look at that line and understand, and like me, be like, why would the Grizzlies want AJ DeBanza? It's for the aspect of the Grizzlies need another scorer. Along with I would say a veteran center presence that's more than what we got right now. I would say definitely need another scorer. The Grizzlies have not had a 3-level scoring wing since Rudy Gay. That's my personal opinion. That needs to change. That's kind of sad to say, but that needs to change bad. It's a very big issue, and it doesn't get talked about enough. But it's an issue the Grizzlies have. But yeah, honestly, AJ DeBanza, I've watched his tape. I suggest everybody watch his tape. The man is good. The boy is good. He's going to be cold at BYU. So definitely looking forward to watching him play college ball. I think if there's a way for the Grizzlies to get him, absolutely. You need another scorer. Like I said, I understand beefing up the front court, but just judging off these mocks, the Grizzlies are looking to get another scorer. And I'm almost sure we're not against that. I think it's just a matter of who can we develop them better and can we minimize their weaknesses. That's the other thing, too, because you look at guys like Vince Williams and G.G. Jackson, who in hindsight are very good players, but at the same time, their weaknesses can overshadow all the good that they do. And I think that's something the Grizzlies do need to get better with. And overall, just get better at developing wing players because, like I said, haven't had a true scoring wing since Rudy Gay. So, sorry about that. Haven't had a true scoring wing since Rudy Gay, so definitely got to really get on top of that. So, hopefully, come time next year's draft, we're looking at this more, and this is a real possibility. Who knows? But that's going to be a wrap for this edition of Grizzlies Daily. Like I said, we are a few weeks out from basketball, so more updates coming soon, more looks into the season, more that we'll probably get from training camp. Can't wait to bring it to you all. Like I said, if we get some entry updates sometime soon, I'm going to bring it to you all. So make sure to tune in. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on the post notifications so you get notified every time we upload here on Grizzlies Daily. That's the edition of, as for this edition of Grizzlies Daily, my name's Malik, and I'll be signing off.